Hey guys, Alex here. If there is something that I always ask myself, it was how the hell the Filipino people speak English better than English itself. And I hope in this video we're gonna have some answers because it's crazy. I mean, not only in the videos that I saw with Filipinos talking about their country or whatever, interviews, interviews that I had on the channel with Filipino people. And I always wonder, how the hell is that possible? I mean, not Filipinos that are, I don't know, living in the States, but just Filipinos living in Philippines. And it said, how the hell is that possible? And I hope we're gonna find out more. If you're new on the channel, welcome. I'm Alex. We have a big community over here. Feel free to join by subscribing to the channel if you want to do that. Let's go and watch this. And I hope to have some answers, because if not, it's crazy. I mean, it's cool, okay, they can learn it, but not this good.
English is the world's most powerful language today, and it is spoken almost everywhere across the globe.
Okay.
But here's a surprising fact that not many people realize. Among all the countries in Asia, one nation stands out as having some of the best English speakers in the region, and that country is the Philippines. Now you might wonder how this small island nation in Southeast Asia managed to speak English so well, while other bigger and wealthier countries in Asia still struggle to master it.
Not only in Asia.
This is where the story becomes fascinating, because the Philippines didn't just learn English as a foreign language. The Filipinos live and breathe it in their daily lives, and this has made them one of the best English-speaking nations, not just in Asia, but in the world. When you compare the Philippines to other Asian countries like China, Japan, Korea, or even Thailand, the difference in English fluency is clear. But why is this the case? And why does the Philippines have such a strong advantage in English that even surprises many Westerners? To understand this, we need to look at the history, culture, education system, media, and even the mindset of Filipinos, and how all of these factors shaped their relationship with English. Let's start with history, because history always leaves a strong mark on language. The Philippines was under Spanish rule
for
more than
333 years.
But in the late 1800s, it came under American control, and that completely changed the direction of the nation. Unlike Spain, which focused more on religion, the Americans focused on education and governance. When they took over the Philippines in 1898, they introduced a new education system based on the American model. And guess what language they used in schools?
English.
It was English. American teachers, known as the Thomasites, were brought into the country to teach Filipino children subjects like math, science, and literature, all in English. This immediately set the Philippines apart from other Asian nations, because while most countries in Asia were sticking to their native tongues or trying to adapt to European influences, the Philippines was already being trained to think, study, and communicate in English from an early age. This American influence didn't just stay in schools, it spread to government institutions, businesses, and even the media. Newspapers started publishing in English. Radio programs broadcasted in English, and eventually television also followed the same path. So, while other Asian countries were still treating English as a foreign language to be learned only for business or tourism, the Philippines was embedding English into the very core of its national life. This foundation explains why Filipinos became naturally comfortable with English, and why generations later they are still reaping the benefits. Another major reason the Philippines speaks better English than most of Asia is its education system. English is one of the official languages of the country alongside Filipino, and that means from the very start, children in the Philippines are exposed to English in their schools. Textbooks, exams, and even classroom discussions are often in English, so for a Filipino student, English isn't just another subject. It's a tool for learning everything else.
Okay, I'm gonna stop for 1 second and say something. In my previous reactions, because here on the channel we try to dive in not only in the present of the Philippines but also in the past. Before the Spanish came, we saw in those documentaries. I'm gonna leave some cards at the end of the video if you are, curious about it. That the Filipinos and the Philippines before the Spanish, like I was saying, they were already so advanced. They had system, governments, laws, and in 1989, when the American came and implementing this thing, not only with how intelligent Filipino were already, having this thing plus, added to them, to the country, that's why nowadays, if we can call it like that, Philippines, it's like up there, over a lot of countries. And I'm not talking about only voices in karaoke and music. I'm talking about really as people, as culture. And this video, it's really important. I mean, I can understand a lot of things now.
For example, science is taught in English, mathematics is taught in English, even computer classes are in English. This constant exposure builds not only grammar and vocabulary, but also confidence and fluency. Imagine being a kid in the Philippines, growing up with English in school, then going home and watching cartoons or TV shows that are also in English, and then reading signs in malls and restaurants also in English. It becomes part of your daily rhythm, and by the time you grow up, you are practically bilingual without even realizing it. This is something very few Asian countries can say. Take China or Japan, for example. Both countries are global economic giants, but their English proficiency levels are much lower. Why? Because in those countries, English is usually treated as a subject you only need to pass exams. Students memorize grammar rules or vocabulary, but rarely practice actual communication. So even after years of studying English, many still find it hard to speak confidently or naturally in conversations. The Philippines, however, doesn't have this problem because Filipinos use English in real-life situations almost every day. Another interesting factor is the influence of media and pop culture in the Philippines. Hollywood movies, American music, and Western TV.
Okay, I'm gonna stop because it was something that I wanted to say about the TV shows, movies. I grew up in between Bucharest and Italy, and there were two different worlds when we're talking about language, because every single movie, TV show, cartoon that I was watching when I was a kid, and I'm talking about Bucharest, they were in the original language with subtitles. And that helped me a lot of being able to translate and, at the same time learning. I don't know if that makes sense for you, but it helped me and a lot of other people, because in Romania, a lot of people speak English. Then another factor, in Italy, no, everything is like, in Italian language with another voice. And I guess that's a mistake. Nowadays, okay, you're watching Netflix or whatever you provider stream you are watching, you can change the language, blah, blah, blah. But, like a lot of years ago, like I was saying, when I was a kid or a teen, you didn't have those things. So whatever it was, that was, and full stop. And I remember, because I'm into those guys, into Metallica since I was a kid, and I knew some English, but not everything. And we didn't have, in that moment, the internet wasn't like it is today. And I was trying to understand the lyrics of what those guys were like talking about in their songs. And, nowadays it's easy. Okay, Google Translate lyrics and blah, blah, blah. Then I had the dictionary. So I was like going through the lyrics and said, okay, this mean this mean that. And I guess that helped me even more of speaking English, of understanding, and not only English, but Spanish and and so on. But I guess it's a mistake in the way I see things, that everything that is in TV, it has to be in the language. And I talked with some friends about this, and they said, oh, I cannot watch the movie and read at the same time. Yes, you can. The problem is that you weren't trained, if we can call it that, since you were a kid, because it was like too easy, you know? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. This is an interesting thing.
Shows are extremely popular, and unlike in many Asian countries where foreign media is dubbed into the local language in the Philippines, they are shown in the original English with subtitles. This constant exposure to authentic spoken English helps Filipinos not only understand, but also mimic accents, slang,
The way they
and
helped
cultural
me.
expressions. So if you talk to a Filipino, you might be surprised to find out that their English sounds natural and not overly robotic or bookish. This media influence keeps English alive, fresh, and relatable for the younger generation. But perhaps the most unique thing about the Philippines and English is the attitude of its people. Filipinos are not shy about using English in daily life. In fact, code switching between Filipino and English is extremely common in conversations. This is known locally as Taglish, a mix of Tagalog and English, and while some might think this would harm their fluency, it actually makes them even more flexible and confident because it removes the fear of making mistakes. For many Asians, speaking English comes with pressure. They are afraid of grammar errors or accents. But in the Philippines, English is just another way to communicate, so people use it freely and openly, whether it's perfect or not. This practical attitude makes Filipinos much more comfortable with the language and gives them an edge in fluency, confidence, and adaptability. Let's not forget the economic side of things as well. The Philippines has become one of the top destinations in the world for outsourcing and business process outsourcing, or BPO. Companies like call centers thrive in the Philippines because of the strong English skills of its people. Multinational companies prefer hiring Filipinos for customer service, IT support, and other jobs that require English communication, and this further motivates young people to master the language because it directly connects to better job opportunities. In fact, the BPO industry has created millions of jobs in the Philippines, and much of it is thanks to their ability to speak English better than most of their Asian neighbors. When you put all these factors together, history, education, culture, media, and economics, you start to see the big picture. The Philippines doesn't just treat English as a subject, it lives with English as a part of its identity. This explains why surveys and studies often rank the Philippines as one of the best English-speaking
not
nations
only
in
in
Asia,
Asia,
sometimes even placing
in
them
the
second
world.
only to Singapore, which also has a unique English-speaking background. But let's dive a little deeper and compare the Philippines with some of its neighbors to see the contrast. Take Japan, for example. Despite being one of the most advanced economies in the world, English proficiency in Japan remains low. The Japanese education system focuses heavily on grammar translation and test-taking, rather than real communication. As a result, many Japanese can read and write English, but struggle to speak fluently. Then there's South Korea, another economic powerhouse. While Korean students also spend years studying English, many of them still feel uncomfortable in conversations because of the same exam-focused education and lack of real-life practice. China, which is the largest country in Asia by population, also faces similar issues, with millions learning English in schools, but very few reaching high fluency levels, because again, the focus is
not on communication. Exactly.
not communication. Thailand and Vietnam also rank low in English proficiency compared to the Philippines. In these countries, English is seen more as a foreign necessity rather than a daily tool of life. The Philippines, on the other hand, has managed to turn English into an everyday language, and that's the real difference. But here's the twist. The Philippines' strength in English is not just about language, it's also about culture. Filipinos are naturally warm,
And beautiful
hospitable,
people.
and social. They love communicating, connecting, and sharing with others, and English has become a powerful bridge for them to connect with the rest of the world. Whether it's through overseas workers in the Middle East or domestic helpers in Hong Kong or nurses in the United States, millions of Filipinos use English as their key to opportunities abroad. And they do it so well that many foreigners are often shocked at how fluent and
I was
natural their
shocked.
English sounds. This cultural openness combined with their language skills is one of the reasons why Filipinos are highly sought after in many industries worldwide, from healthcare to education to business services. But here's the part that really surprises many people sometimes. Foreigners expect to hear broken English when they visit the Philippines, but instead, they often find that Filipinos can carry on a conversation smoothly, crack jokes in English, understand slang, and even adopt Western humor. This shocks many tourists and makes the Philippines stand out even more in Asia, because this is not something you easily find in countries like China, Japan, or Korea. So when you ask the question why the Philippines speaks better English than most of Asia, the answer is clear. It's because of a perfect combination of history, education, exposure, culture, and attitude that made English not just a foreign skill, but a second native tongue of the
Wow,
nation.
this was beautiful. And like I was saying, for me, I understand a lot of things about it. Thinking about my past and the way I learned it, and that's why, and it's beautiful. I'm thinking about even in the songs that I've heard you guys karaoke, and I was blown away. They're on the channel, those videos. By the way, one of those videos during karaoke, it's like more than 500,000 views. So thank you for that. And yeah, Philippines are not only amazing like country in beauty, not only as a history, not only because it's a country chosen by God. We know about Ophir, right? We had that on the channel as well. But the people, the resilience, the smiles, the beauty of it, and the intelligence and the DNA. I don't know. There are a lot of things, but it's something beautiful to see, to watch, to understand, to learn, and to dive in, if I can call it like that. And I'm so grateful to this channel for being able to see and being here with you and assist to all this. Okay, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think? That's really important. Let me know, what do you think we should react next on the channel? That's also so important. And Alex here, like I always say, stay safe and waiting you for the next video.